Stocks, bonds, ETFs, straight out of downtown Chicago. This is Zacks Market Edge.
Welcome to Zacks Market Edge, the podcast about investing in your life. I'm your host, Tracey Ryniec, and this week I'm going solo to talk about the best of the best stocks. Yes, this means they are top Zacks ranked stocks, but they also have top style scores, so they're top across the board. So the rank, remember, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With the ones being the strong buys and the fives being the strong sells. So, of course, we want number one stocks, the strong buys. The style scores rank like your school grading did, A, B, C, D, F, that kind of thing. A being the highest, of course, and that's what we want to look for. So the best of the best looks for the strong buys, as I mentioned. Then the A's, but the A's are A's across the board. It looks for value, it looks for growth, it looks for momentum. Then it gives an overall VGM score, value, growth, momentum, of also being A. It's not easy to get all three across the board like that, plus the number one rank. Something pretty good has to be going on. So I like to run this screen with these criteria to see who is doing this right now with the trade war going on, a lot of uncertainty out there, but somebody is killing it. And I wanted to know who. So I ran this screen. I only got 12 stocks. So that tells you right there, there are about 210 to 240 Zacks number one ranked stocks at any given time. So we already knew it was going to be that amount. But combining it with these top style scores, we only got 12 stocks. What was in here? Well, I'm not going to lie. The gold miners. The gold miners are killing it. They're having record earnings. The consensus is, the estimates are rising. The analysts are bullish. The companies are bullish. And gold remains over $3,000 an ounce. And it's been holding that all throughout the second quarter. So that means this quarter is going to top last quarter, where it averaged about $2,800 an ounce, give or take, depending on the gold company that you look into. But this time it's going to be even higher. That means higher earnings for these gold companies. So I only included one here today because we don't really need to keep looking at them. We have done a look in on many of the gold miners over the last couple of months on this podcast. So I urge you to go and check out some of those videos. Also, my colleague Nina Mishra has covered the gold mining ETFs on ETF Spotlight podcast. So check out those. You can get both of those on Zacks podcast channel. You can see where I've covered them on the Value Investor, but Nina's ETF Spotlight is also there, and on our normal video channel with this Market Edge podcast that you're listening to. That is also going to have any of our gold. So what else is on here? Let's take a look at a couple of other stocks. But again, I am including one of the gold miners. But I kind of just looked on the list. Oh, which ones did I not know anything about? Let's take a look at some of those. Why are they on this list? And sure enough, because this screen is looking for the best of the best, it did give us companies that last quarter had some kind of record going on. So I just described the records we're seeing in gold, and very high record, in many cases, earnings with the gold miners. And it's not surprising some of these others also had records. That was the headline of the day when drilling down. So let's start it off with the first stock. It is OPFI, OPPFI, and the ticker is OPFI. And they're a fintech company. They work with banks to supply financial products and services. They did, as I mentioned, have a record quarter. They had record quarterly revenue. They exceeded their own guidance by more than 40%, and they raised earnings and guidance for the full year. So total revenue rose 10% to 140.3 million. Again, that was a record for any quarter, not just the first quarter. And they announced a special dividend of 25 cents. That was already paid out on April 18th because this was a couple months ago when all this was going on. And that was the company's second special dividend. But let's take a look at the charts, the consensus chart, what is happening with their style scores, with that AVGM score, and the number one ranks, and then why the data is showing that things are so bullish. So let's dive in on OPFI. Is that how you pronounce it? I'm sorry, OPFI, if I'm pronouncing it wrong. There you see the Zacks number one rank. It's got an F for momentum. So that's interesting. I thought they would have style scores of A across the board with this screen, but it is only looking for the AVGM. But it's hard to get the AVGM without, pretty good going on with most of these. So apparently value and growth can overcome this momentum of an F. I'm not too concerned about the momentum of an F. And then as I'm scrolling down and looking at the chart, the stock is sold off on the Liberation Day earlier this year, now is rebounding, is back at new all-time high. Well, not all-time highs, but it's trying to get to those earlier from 2025. But it is definitely on its way. So I'm not sure about momentum with this one because it looks like it's pretty good to me. But the momentum could be looking back here at the sell-off and not at the current little rally. You can see all those good big earnings beats, market cap of just 1.2 billion. So it is a small cap. And then scrolling down, we can see on the earnings expected to be up 29.5% this year, 14.6% in 2026. 2024 was also really good, 86.3% there. Small company that's growing pretty quickly, it looks like here. On the agreement, everybody's in agreement. We only have two analysts on this company. Not surprising as it's a small cap, and they're both higher in on the estimates there, and one for next year as well. So scrolling down, just to kind of look at other fundamentals, PE of just 11.3 with this one. We didn't screen for that, but we did get the A for value score. So we should see some kind of interesting and good quality on the valuation side because that includes all of these things. Price to sales here is 2.2. That's pretty low. Price to book of 5. That's a little higher than I would look for true value. So yeah, like this is an interesting company, little unknown name that you might want to check out. But this is what the Zacks rank and the style scores are designed to do. When you look for the best of the best, something good is likely going on there when there's so few of the companies that have these qualifications. So sure enough, OPFI record quarter, and we'll see what they report this quarter. Let's see, scrolling down, where is expected earnings date in early August. So nothing's been confirmed on that yet, but we will be getting more data from them, and we'll see if this can continue. Now you can see on the price of consensus, let's take a look at just the getting rid of those earnings surprises there, because that can kind of like muddy the picture a little bit when we're just trying to look at what is happening with the price of consensus. And you can see 2025 now, the analysts are really bumping up there, and 2026, I don't see 27 unless that's it way up there. We'll see. It's a little early. We've only just started to show 2027 on these charts, and we only have two analysts. They may not be giving out 2027 quite yet. So that might not be it up there. So yeah, OPFI. This is one that if you're looking for those small caps, I know some of you are starting to look outside of those big caps, then this might be one to keep on your watch list. OPFI is the ticker. Okay, let's look at the gold miner. On this occasion, I chose Harmony Gold. We've got the Zacks #1 rank, obviously. Style scores: B for value, A for growth, and this one does have the A for momentum with the A overall score. Harmony, ticker HMY, and it's a kind of a big cap, mid cap, let's call it, 9.2 billion. Dividend is yielding 1.3%. A lot of these companies are doing various things on the dividend with their, suddenly good free cash flows, and they are, doing specials or they're buying back shares. So you'd have to scroll to see what Harmony is doing. They are based in South Africa as well. So they're not US. But on May 27th, they did announce that they were buying a copper mine in Australia to boost their copper side of the business, which is also an intriguing side of the business. So if you are interested in some of these metals, you can find companies that are doing both, gold, silver, copper, a few other things in their nickel sometimes. And that might be a way to go, and it might ease some of the pressure to keep that gold price elevated, right? So scrolling down, it is South African, it is gold, which has been ignored by the street. We only seemingly have one estimate on it, even though it's one of the big gold miners that's out there. And they're looking for $1.12 this year, $2.42 next year, but this is on the fiscal year. So they tend to report, there's no quarterly numbers because they report usually only twice a year, but the estimate is higher in the last 30 days. Not surprising, again, given the price of gold out there. And now they've got the copper miner. They did say it'll be accretive pretty much right away. So that's Harmony Gold, HMY. What is those earnings supposed to do? Up 14.3% this fiscal year and 116% for next fiscal year. As if we keep these high prices, this is what you're going to see with the earnings. So Harmony, HMY. Then I'm going to wrap it up with one of the surprise stocks on this list. I was a little dubious, as I am with any of the retailers right now, but Urban Outfitters is the best of the best. Yes, ticker URBN. And for those of you who don't know, Urban Outfitters is not just Urban Outfitters. That is one of their flagship brands. That's why they're using the name. But they also own Anthropologie and Free People. Those are their three major brands. And in this first quarter, they too saw record Q1 sales. I'm seeing kind of a pattern here with all three of these stocks on this screen. So record Q1 sales, that's a lot of Q1s that they've had. So that's encouraging. Comps up 4.8%. They were up 6.9 at Anthropologie, 3.1 at Free People, and 2.1 at Urban. Urban has been the one that's been lagging. So to see it in the positive year over year, these are the same store sales comps, is a good sign. Wholesale also up 24.2%. And that's due to Free People, up 25.6%, going to specialty customers and department stores. So Free People seems to be on trend. People willing to pay those higher prices, because Free People, I don't know if you've ever shopped there. You can go into their regular stores, they sell online, and they sell at department stores and other specialty retailers. It's not cheap. And apparel prices have been rising with the tariffs, with inflation, just about because of everything. So you will pay, but customers, the consumers, are willing to pay it apparently right now. So all three of these brands operating in a good place right now. And therefore, Urban Outfitters, let's take a look. It's got obviously the #1 rank. It's got an A for value. It's only got the C for growth, but an A for momentum. So the A overall VGM score. Scrolling down, market cap of 6.2, no dividend. But you can see on the price consensus and surprise chart, shares are breaking out to new 5-year highs on this chart. And you can kind of see the mix smash of the price consensus there. Let's take a look at the detailed earnings estimates just to kind of see what the analysts are doing. And we can see they're all higher, even one in the last 7 days, but 5 in the last 30 days, both for this fiscal year and next fiscal year. And 21% earnings growth expected for this fiscal year, 9.7% for next fiscal year. And this is with tariff impacts. We have 10% tariffs on everybody right now, including a lot of probably their suppliers. But will that rise? Are they passing it along? I'm assuming they're passing it along to me to get these kinds of numbers. So I'm liking all of that. What does it look like on the chart? Price and consensus chart. I always love to look at this, and it is up and to the right. We're even getting 2027 on this one, and that's a little bit higher than 2026 right there. But all of these numbers up and to the right looking very solid. So try to do these screens, best of the best. You'll get the number one rank. You will get the A on the VGM score for the style score. So you're going to get a mixture of this momentum, of the value and growth components. This is a very difficult combination to get. And that's why there were just 12 stocks right now that are getting it. But some of these all with record quarters. That's what it takes. It takes being the best of the best to make this screen. So get the best when you're out there buying stocks, but you're buying the company, don't forget. So you want to own ones that are killing it, that are bringing these record numbers, where the earnings estimates are on the rise, not going the other way. So keep that in mind. These are the charts, the price and consensus charts you want to see when you are investing. But also keep in mind the Zacks rank is a short-term recommendation of just 1 to 3 months. And it can change daily. It can change every time one of these companies comes out with a new earnings report and the analysts are adjusting those earnings estimates. Maybe they beat and raised. So those estimates are adjusted higher. Maybe they missed. Maybe they cut guidance. We're seeing a lot of that right now due to the tariffs and the uncertainty. And that is going to send the rank the other way. But these ones, special companies right now in these market conditions. So these are the ones I like to look at. Let me repeat the stocks again. We had OPFI, ticker OPFI, F as in Frank, I. OPFI. They obviously record quarter for them. Harmony Gold, ticker HMY. They're reporting every 6 months, but earnings at many of these gold miners also at records. HMY is that ticker. Urban Outfitters, URBN is that ticker. It owns 3 big popular brands. It seems to know what it's doing when a lot of retailers are not certain right now. So if you're looking for a retailer, might want to keep that one on your watch list as well. And as always, every week I'm aiming to bring you the best of the best. Why don't I bring it to you every week? The best stocks out there and stock deals and whatever else is going on, even in the economy. I'll be having John Blank back on soon to talk about that, but we're waiting until after the Fed. And that's coming soon. So be sure to subscribe. Get us on YouTube at zacks.com/YouTube and anywhere there's podcasts. And I'll see you again next week with some more stocks.